I'm Teresa Carraggio, and this is Third Paradigm. My topic today is breaking up with Russell Brand. And I am sad to be making this because, as many of you know, I started my YouTube channel responding, even calling it at first, Yes and Russell Brand. I took his luminary interviews, which were often with people who weren't very famous. This was after he had been humbled, and I never even knew the first Russell Brand 1.0. But I saw him interviewing people like Gabor Mate and Johan Hari and having these very authentic conversations. So there are 4 areas where Russell confirmed things that I didn't know anyone else thought but me. I found him charming, but more than that, I found him to be someone who had original ideas and intelligence and who brought that to the table and to his discussions. So I want to look at what the areas I have had of correspondence with Russell, and then also look at the reasons that I've become disillusioned and even suspicious. And then look at 3 particular clips and analyze those. What do I like about Russell Brand? Way back in the beginning of the pandemic, when it was possible to get on a Zoom call with Russell and 700 other people, he called on me and I told him about my book, which has important ideas where he and I agree. And he said, well, put in the comments where we can get it. And I said, that's my dilemma. Do I put it on Amazon and dance with the devil? He answered, dance with the devil, but don't go home with him. So now this has made my book available around the world. And those ideas where he and I agree start with a personal style, which is love the person, challenge the ideas. I've defended his conversations with Yuval Noah Harari because he is affectionate, but he also challenges the ideas. And I think that's an important combination. The second one is that people are inherently good, and that when they behave badly, systems are to blame. Uniquely, almost, he believes that systems can be changed, and that the direction in which to change them is towards small-scale sovereignty, which occasionally he will call anarchy. Russell has also done a better job than just about anyone in interviewing women and having real engaging dialogues with them, which is why when the whole sexual misconduct brouhaha came up, I felt it was manufactured, and I still do. But now I wonder, was it manufactured for a reason, in order to move him into that mainstream alternative? In a way, it's almost like Amy Goodman used to be, and I feel like having been fooled by her once on the left, I don't want to fall for the same technique on the right, and that's what this feels like to me. I decided to watch some clips and see if they confirmed what I was suspecting. The first one was on Tulsi Gabbard responding on The View, and she does a great job. She makes them look ridiculous, quotes them back to themselves, and is very poised. And that was Russell's main commentary on it. She mainly just says, well, I'm a patriot, nothing very controversial. I would like to call her on this thing about the World Economic Forum and being a young global leader. When I looked that up, she says, oh, they put my photo on there and my name without me even knowing. But I looked and the other people seemed okay, so I didn't complain about it until I realized what they were doing, and then I made them take it off. Fishy or what? The second clip was titled, Did Trump Just Win 2024? And he shows his Florida talk where he says, if I was still president, there would be no war in the Middle East. I had peace in the Middle East when I was president. Iran was broke because of the economic sanctions. Now they have $250 billion. If we had violent students on college campuses who were jihadists and anti-Semites, I would send them back to the countries they came from. Russell responds with, no matter what you think about Trump, and I know some of you love him, you have to admit that that is a populist message, that this is basically America first. These are issues that people care about. Now, that is a rhetorical trick, because he starts out saying, no matter what you think about Trump, but then says, and I know many of you love him. And then he says something positive, and he takes what Trump just says and boils it down to America first? What does the war in Gaza have to do with America first? There was so much material that he could have challenged, like whether Iran was behind Hamas, and didn't touch that, whether the violent people on college campuses are foreign jihadists. Those are things that he didn't even mention. He just goes straight to, if you love freedom, you can't afford to vote for Biden. As if those are the options. And then he says, my enemies don't want Trump in the White House, and sometimes that's enough. Really? The third clip was Russell's interview of Bobby Kennedy. After they got the worm in the brain thing over with, he said, my listeners, of course, want to talk about Israel. And Bobby's response was essentially, some of my best friends are Palestinian. I worked with people on the Jordan with my River Keepers group. My heart goes out to the victims, especially the children. But Israel has a right to defend itself. And when I'm in office, I will make sure that I always keep our promise to Israel. I didn't click over to Rumble to hear Russell's response, but I have no hope it was going to be any better. Someone I'm not disappointed in lately is Glenn Greenwald, who just did one on the cancellation of TikTok and the wildly inflated definition of anti-Semitism that's driving it. And also James Corbett, who's come out with one on who is Benjamin Netanyahu that looks at his father and his ties to the bombing of the King David Hotel. And to look at the beginning of our romance, this is the very first video that I made, Why Russell Brand? And this is a playlist with 50 videos on Russell Brand and mainly his guests. And I still do love the 50 dimensions of me that he brought out. Thank you for watching.